Did you know that Picasso, Matisse, and Kandinsky all drew inspiration from African art? For centuries, African artistic traditions have been wrongly labeled as primitive, obscuring their profound influence on global art and their intrinsic value as powerful expressions of culture, resistance, and innovation. This is the story of African art, from its ancient origins to its vibrant contemporary scene. Our journey begins in the mists of prehistory. As far back as 100,000 years ago, evidence suggests that complex paint production was already underway in Africa. 320,000 years ago, the use of pigments was documented, hinting at the deep-rooted human impulse to create and adorn. Millennia later, around 6,000 years ago, the Sahara Desert, once a fertile landscape, became a canvas for rock art carvings. These ancient works offer a glimpse into the lives, beliefs, and artistic sensibilities of early African societies. But it is the Nok culture of Nigeria that truly marks a turning point. Flourishing from around 1500 BCE, the Nok people produced distinctive terracotta sculptures, representations of humans, animals, and mythical creatures. These sculptures, created between 2000 and 2500 years ago, represent the oldest African artistic tradition that approaches naturalism. The accidental discovery of these sculptures in 1943 by Bernard Fagg in a Jos region tin mine was revolutionary. It revealed an entire artistic tradition previously unknown to the world. Critically, all subsequent major Nigerian art schools, including Ife, Benin, O, and Igbo, trace their lineage back to Nok as their archetype. Moving into the medieval period, we encounter the rise of powerful kingdoms that became centers of artistic innovation. From the 13th to the 19th centuries, the Kingdom of Benin flourished, producing bronze plaques and ivory carvings that are now celebrated as masterpieces of African art. The Kingdom of Ife also demonstrates sophisticated bronze casting techniques dating back to the 10th century. These techniques, alongside those developed in Igbo Ukwu, testify to the ingenuity and skill of sub-Saharan African artisans. The Benin bronzes, created primarily in the 16th and 17th centuries, depict court life, historical events, and religious beliefs. Sadly, many of these treasures are now dispersed globally in museums, a legacy of colonial plunder. Speaking of which, the colonial period, spanning from 1880 to 1914, marked a dark chapter in African history. The scramble for Africa led to the systematic exploitation of the continent's resources and the suppression of its cultures. European colonizers didn't merely discourage traditional art forms, they actively banned many practices, characterizing them as primitive. This wasn't passive neglect but active cultural erasure. Amidst this oppression, art became a powerful tool of resistance. The Ndebele uprising of 1882 against Afrikaner colonization, though brutally suppressed, stands as a testament to the resilience of the African spirit. The Afrikaners cut off food supplies, burned villages, and killed herds. Survivors were forced into 5-year indentured servitude. This had a tremendous upheaval that disrupted artistic production and cultural transmission. In the aftermath of colonial rule, African artists sought to reclaim their identities and challenge the stereotypes imposed upon them. The Negritude movement, founded in Paris in 1937 by African student artists such as Aimé Césaire, Léon Demos, and Léopold Sédar Senghor, played a crucial role in this process. Léopold Sédar Senghor articulated a precise artistic philosophy: African art must simultaneously reflect modernity and respond to contemporary social issues while celebrating traditional culture. This was revolutionary because it rejected the false binary of traditional versus modern. Aubrey Williams, a Guyanese painter associated with the Negritude movement, used abstraction as a defensive mechanism against Western categorization. His painting, Death and the Conquistador, critiqued Spanish colonization of the Americas, showing how African diaspora artists connected their struggle to broader anti-colonial movements. The foundations of contemporary African art were laid in South Africa during the 1950s and 60s. Artists like Irma Stern, Cyril Freyden, and Walter Battis, along with institutions like the Goodman Gallery in Johannesburg, helped to promote African modernism during the apartheid era. But the end of apartheid in 1994 marked a watershed moment for continental artistic freedom. Contemporary African artists now operate in a decolonized institutional landscape, though still contested. The shift from abstraction to conceptual art continues, with contemporary work engaging directly with issues such as identity, migration, technology, and globalization. Today, the Benin bronzes remain dispersed globally in Western museums, sparking ongoing controversy about cultural property and colonial theft. Modern African nations are actively demanding repatriation of artifacts. This connects directly to Negritude's original critique. Colonialism extracted both resources and cultural patrimony. Contemporary African artists now define their own aesthetic categories rather than being filtered through Western primitive art frameworks. The Negritude principle, modernity plus tradition, remains operative in contemporary practice. Contemporary African art markets are growing, but institutional support remains uneven across the continent. Art schools and galleries in major African cities now train new generations without the colonial suppression framework. Despite the challenges, African art continues to evolve and innovate, reflecting the continent's rich history, diverse cultures, and unwavering spirit. As Robert Ferris Thompson's scholarship reveals, African art wasn't merely decorative. The C.I. Wera antelope mask performance was functionally necessary for farming success. It inspired farmers and reinforced community bonds. Art made things happen ritually and socially. Yoruba twin sculptures, known as Aya Ibeji, communicated specific cultural values through form, emphasis on the head for wisdom, depiction of the prime of life for ideal timing, and commemoration of the deceased. This is visual language encoding social philosophy. After decolonization, there was a documented shift away from abstraction toward conceptual art, with artists moving from formal innovation to ideological expression about nation-building and self-governance. We have only scratched the surface of the vast and complex history of African art. From the ancient Nok terracottas to the groundbreaking works of contemporary artists, African art continues to defy expectations and inspire the world. But the story doesn't end here. It's a story that continues to unfold, with new voices, new perspectives, and new innovations emerging every day. This is why the African artistic landscape is so compelling, because it is always in dialogue with the past and the future. So, what will the next chapter of African art history look like?